Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a Monday evening. Great weekend of sports. One of those little bit slow weekends, but we have the UFC to talk about. We're going to preview the Super Bowl coming up, and we're going to be able to get into some NBA talk. But first, I've got some rants to give. I got some really big rants to give. I know how our viewers and listeners sometimes like that, and sometimes I get some backlash. But hey, I need to get it off my chest. And Jason's here. Hopefully, I can get it off on his. At him. He doesn't bite me back, but you probably got a few rants to give too, don't you, Jason?
Well, if it's about the nonsense I had to deal with, like downtown as I was getting my hair cut and then trying to leave downtown, and then wondering, why is everybody honking their horns? What is happening right now? You know what I actually thought? I thought we won gold in the Winter Olympics. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know people were watching it that much. That's incredible. We have a lot of people interested in the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I wish that was the reason why we were seeing the Canadian flags and hearing all the honking. That does happen when we win, but no, it was for a much worse reason. And that's definitely one of the things that I needed to get off my chest. I'm really sick of the way these guys are going about their protest. I think they're disrupting a lot of people's lives. I heard that a lot of people were actually having a hard time sleeping because the honking's going on all night long. It's not fair. You want people to be on your side, don't you? When you have a, protest and you really want to get some public support, it's not really good to piss people off, interrupt the traffic like crazy, interrupt their sleeps. I think, they're going about this the very wrong way.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also too, even from one of our coworkers who was on about the fact that she was getting her booster shot and she's getting razzed, degraded, like discriminated against as she's just going to get her booster shot.
Jesus.
She's just going to get her booster shot. Wow. And people are up against her for getting her booster shot. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Come on, man. Like that's ridiculous. That's utterly, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Shouldn't be happening like that. Not like that.
I've been part of the media for most of my life, and I think media is, for the most part, really great. I think it's a necessary thing in our society, and these guys have been attacking the media, saying they're spreading lies, they're putting out false truths, they're helping the government, with the putting out rhetoric, and they're getting abused, they're getting beat up, they're getting their equipment stolen and broken. There's just so many things that are just been outrageous with the way that they're going about this. And I think the public support is just going to be down to the point where it's like, okay, throw them all in jail, get them out of here. We don't need these guys in society. And I don't understand why they would take such extreme measures, stopping people from going about their daily life, just going to get a booster shot, like you say, and somebody's getting harassed. Like, that's not really the how they should be going about this. This is ridiculous.
No, it is. It's definitely not the way they should be going about it. But then not only do you have the protests, like against the vaccinations or whatever the heck, and then you have the pro part of it, right. But then they're trying to stop the convoy. And you know what happens when you try to stop the convoy? Now no traffic gets through.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my goodness, I was just beside myself. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I was like, are you kidding me right now? Yeah. And on top of all of that, huge construction going on in the city, especially down the Broadway corridor. Now you're definitely not going anywhere. Yeah. You're not doing anything. Like
it's gridlock city, and it's not good at all. They've been demanding for Trudeau to do a lot of things, and he came out with some comments today. He
Oh,
got COVID for the second time, and he's in isolation right now. Did you hear that?
yeah, I did hear that. Maybe that's for the best. So he's just like, yeah, can somebody else deal with that? This is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, yeah, and it's too bad because when the pandemic hit, they said there was a lot of essential workers, and truck drivers were essential workers, and public opinion on essential workers were, people were banging on pots and pans, and they were putting up signs. Thank you so much for allowing us to get food and supplies and all these great things. Everybody was happy with nurses and doctors and all the people that were essential workers, and truck drivers were in that. And now they've lost all of that they've gained by, putting on these crazy protests. And it's frustrating. I hope we can get it, put a stop to it very soon.
I would like to see a stop to it. I don't know what the answer is to all of this, though, so that we can see some sort of, I guess, common ground. You know what? Forget that. There is no common ground here. It just isn't. Like, I don't think that's a thing either. But at the same time, this can't continue. Like, it's becoming even more divisive as time goes on.
Yeah,
That's what
I know. Yeah. We see it south of the border. Our friends down in the U.S., it's become a very divided society, and I'm hating to see that here north of the border, because we've been usually able to be all as one, but we're becoming a very divided society, and it's not the way we should be. We should all be coming together, getting through this together. It's almost 2 years of it, and we all want it to be over for sure, but this isn't the way to stop it and move forward. I definitely don't think that this is going to get anybody get their cause heard. And but I'm done with that for sure. Done. Last week I got a lot of comments about this amazing Shawshank Redemption quote point you made and stuff. So while we're here tonight doing this podcast, feel free to put in another great movie quote or something great that get some more talk. I couldn't believe all the comments and stuff I got about this Shawshank Redemption quote. It was pretty great. That just came out of nowhere. Boom.
Yeah, it really did. Like, I thought about it, and I thought about just how rough the man had it, and it just came to me like that, and I'm just like, yeah, that's gonna work. That works because it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. He went through 12 years of purgatory to finally make it to the Rams and then get everything that he ever wanted. Where it's just like, man, this is what a good team is like. This is what it feels like to win. I love this.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw him talking with Jarvis Landry today, and he was heaping a ton of praise on Jarvis, and he said, outside of my dad, you've been one of the men that have really been super influential in my life, and I'm going to the Super Bowl, but it's, your guys are able to, get the glory through me. And it was a really good conversation, really good exchange. He was very humble, and he was, super appreciative of all his teammates, and especially Jarvis Landry. I'm going to try to post it on the comments, but try to find it, any of the viewers and listeners, and Jason. A really good conversation between the two of them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's always good when an athlete gets to the pinnacle, but remembers where he came from and pays respect to those that got him there.
Yeah. I was listening to the radio today, and they were talking about Bob Marley, and it's his, I think they said 72nd birthday coming up, maybe tomorrow. And they were talking about Redemption Song, and you were saying Shawshank Redemption, and it sort of started crossing over for me a little bit. And I guess one really big quote in that Redemption Song was from a speech by a Canadian, last name of Garvey. Don't remember if I remember his first name, but it was a Canadian guy from the East Coast, and he had stood up for a lot of Black civil rights in Canada back then. And Bob Marley took some of his quotes from this speech and put it in that redemption song. So I'm going to also put these notes in the notes here on YouTube. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, kind of amazing that I didn't realize that that a Canadian guy had some quotes. Yeah, in one of Bob Marley's biggest songs ever.
Yeah, and that just shows you the greatness of Bob Marley. He was able to reach everybody, regardless of race, gender, culture. Like his words just resonated with everyone because he was able to pick people that had powerful words to say that resonated with people.
Yeah.
And then he was able to do that through song and verse and give it to the masses. And that's what made him Bob Marley.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah. I got some great news today too. You've always really disliked this guy, and you started warming to him. I think a lot of people started warming to him over the last couple years, but he finally, Tom Brady finally announced his retirement last week. But today he said, when somebody asked him, would you ever think about coming out of retirement? He said, you never say never.
Don't do that. Don't play with my emotions, Tom. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be that guy.
I was stunned when he said that. I was thinking that he was sticking to his guns, especially a week later, to actually go back and say, oh, you never say never. 6 months from now when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm thinking, yeah, I could play this again. Getting back into it. Yeah, that was pretty stunning. I think a lot of people probably choked on their cereal this morning, on their lunch today. Yeah, hearing that, I'm not totally shocked because he still got it. He still, was one of the best QBs, if not the best QB in the league. But he said, "You never say never."
He's up for MVP consideration.
Yeah.
And it's his last year. He's 44. He had the most passing yards and most touchdowns. Like it's ridiculous. Everything he's done up to this point don't make any sense. It's almost as if he just wants to keep rubbing your nose into the fact that, hey, anybody that doubted me, I'm the greatest. I'm the best quarterback you've ever seen. I might just come out of retirement just to prove it once again that I'm the best.
Yeah, he definitely might, and yeah, it wouldn't shock the world, yes, but yeah, I think he shocked quite a few people when he did retire, but yeah, I guess he's still staying relevant and in the news anyway. A week after he retired, he's not going to hit the golf course. He's not going fishing. He's going to keep everybody guessing.
Now, you know what? You know what I need? I need Giselle to say, no, Tom, no, you're staying home. You're going to be the loving father that you've always been.
No.
But now you're just going to be present for the kids. That's all you got to do. I'll go to work. I'll make the money. Well, she already made the money, but she'll continue to make money.
Yeah.
All he has to do is be like, now, actually, what Tom can do, be trophy husband. He's a trophy husband.
Yeah, that's not a bad job. Not a bad job if you can get it. So on to some not as great news. After we did our last podcast, Brian Flores came out with the news that he was suing the NFL, a few teams. He was taking them to task for for sort of a sham way of pretending that he was in the running for NFL jobs. There was 8 openings in the NFL after the season. 8 coaches were fired, and we've had 7 coaches now be hired, all of them white guys. Supposedly the Texans are expected to hire Lovie Smith as their head coach. He was their defensive coordinator last season, would be the second black guy after Mike Tomlin with Pittsburgh. But yeah, what was your reaction to it all, and how it's shaken out, that out of 32 teams, looks like probably only 2 black head coaches going into next season?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because that's always been there in the NFL. There's always been a ceiling for black men in the NFL. You can rise to a certain level, and then that's it. That's as far as you go. It's always been there in the NFL. People can argue it as much as you want, but the history is there and the proof is in the pudding. It's right there in front of your face. It's always been there, and it will continue to be there until, well, somebody like Brian Flores has to step up and do something like this, which is, unfortunately for him, and I know he knows this too, so do the rest of us that are colored or look the same as him, it's career suicide. Yeah. He will be blacklisted because he's done this.
Right. Yeah.
His career is done, and he knows it. So, with that being said, he's coming out in a blaze. He's going guns a-blazing, all out. It's an all-out attack because he's had enough. And you know what? I think everybody is applauding him behind the scenes, saying, good for you, because this has gone on long enough. He's going to put it out there in the public eye, and he's going to put him to task, as it should have been done probably a decade ago, 20 years ago. But you know what? Right now is the time where this is a time of change. It's a time of upheaval. Things are changing. Things are moving. I want to believe for the better. And so he's taken upon himself to continue that change. And I think it's going to be a change for the better.
Yeah. He also came out with saying that the owner of the Dolphins had asked him to throw games so they could get better draft picks, offering him $100,000 for each loss that he was able to make sure that they did. He said he refused and was one of the reasons why he got let go. Did that kind of shock you, that an owner would go to a coach and tell him that he wanted him to throw games so they could get better draft position?
No, it doesn't. It does. It's shocking that he did it like that and didn't do it through a proxy to protect himself. That's shocking. Yeah. But the other thing that's kind of shocking to me is that Brian Flores actually said that. He might actually have proof of that.
Yeah.
That could be very problematic for the owner, because that can lose your NFL franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. I would think it would be hard to prove it if it was just a conversation, but if it was an email or a text or a recorded conversation, yeah, I'm very interested to see what shakes out in the next little while. I have not yet read the 68-page document that was thrown down on the table when they did this lawsuit, but yeah, it will be interesting to see all the things that come out of it. Yeah, I sure hope we can figure out. There's been a Rooney Rule in place for the past 10 years or more, but it has not been able to do what they wanted it to do, and have a lot more diversity in hiring head coaches. Yeah, 8 positions, 7 white guys, and possibly Lovie Smith being the only black guy. Yeah, it doesn't seem right for a league that is 70% black. And most of these guys, once they're done, they would love to be on coaching staffs and being able to give back to the younger guys that are coming up.
And they do. They're assistants and they're this and that, special teams, but they're not the guy.
Yeah.
And that's the point. They're not the guy. And then on top of everything else, that's great. Lovie Smith gets a head coaching gig with one of the worst teams in the NFL, period. Great. That's great. That's great. I get to coach this team that's going to be garbage for like the next 5 years.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah, no doubt. Hey, wow, crazy. The one hiring that happened today was Dennis Allen will replace Sean Payton in New Orleans. He was their defensive coordinator and had a good defense. All power to him. But this will be his second stint as head coach, and his record when he was head coach before was 8-28. So not exactly great resume coming in there as a head coach. 8-28. I'm pretty sure there could have been some black coaches out there that had a better record than. You froze. Are you good?
Yes. Okay, I think I can pick up from where you're talking about 8-28. So for him to follow after Sean Payton, who was the winningest head coach ever in Saints history, to go to, hey, what's that guy's record again? Ooh, this is going to be good.
Yeah,
we're going to win a lot.
That was pretty eye-opening to me. I remember part of his tenure. He was the Raiders head coach 2010 to 2014 in that area. But let's hope things change. Let's hope they can make some rules with some incentives, something that's going to see better results. Because it's racism is not fair, and we want to see these guys that have had fantastic NFL careers be rewarded and go into the coaching ranks. It works great in the NBA. We've seen a lot of coaches win championships there. It can happen in the NFL too, for sure, 100%.
Of course it can. Of course it can. They just need to be given a chance.
Yeah. And
that's all they're asking is a chance. They're just asking for a fair and equitable playing field, which it isn't right now. By far and away isn't. You can just see it within the coaching hires. It's pretty clear. I
watched some of the Pro Bowl yesterday, and I puked about 6 times. It was so brutal. It was so freaking brutal. Like, I cannot believe how sad of a football game that is. Like, it's just amazing. They're in slow motion. They snap the ball, and the guys are like pushing each other a little bit. The ball thrown to a guy, and you just got to go up and tap him, and then boom, whistle's blown. It is so pathetic of football, and I'm so scared that that's where the NFL is going to with all these rule changes year after year. Oh man, it was so terrible. It was unwatchable, and I watched it. I wasted that time of my life, but it was like watching a car crash. It was just like, can you believe what I'm witnessing here? It was sickening. Yeah, of course. And how about this? It was so bad that even our boss, Barry, brought it up to me and said, so Jason, how long has the Pro Bowl been like that? I go, long time, man. Long time. like it's to the point now where they might as well just change up the whole dynamic and just make it a skills competition. Yeah. Really. Yeah. And just not even bother with the game, because the game has liability issues for these players who don't want to get hurt doing it. Yeah. Because they have an off season to train for the next, upcoming season. There's no interest there. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to tackle. It's like basically they're going through a practice or a scrimmage. Oh man. Yeah. I want to see that. It was just so shocking how bad it was. Yeah, I just kept watching them snap the ball and thinking to myself, really, this is how sad it is. Like, they wouldn't not even touch the guy. The only guy that I actually saw playing on defense was Max Crosby. He ended up getting MVP on defense. It was in his home stadium, so he really wanted to put on a show. I think he had a ton of friends and family that he got tickets for. He ended up getting a couple sacks. He got a few tackles, passes defended. And the other guys were like, what the hell are you doing, man? That's not how we play this game. What are you doing? He wanted to get MVP, I guess. I don't know if he got some extra money here. I don't know, just trying to show off to his family, but holy crap, nobody was caring at all. It was, it was shockingly bad. It was it had to be the worst football game that's ever played in the history of man. It was so bad.
Well, you know what? But if you look across all the professional leagues, they're all going like that.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them are like that. I want to say this. I think the last good all-star game that I saw being played was when Michael Jordan was playing. All right.
Okay.
And Jordan was the kind of mentality of the fact of nobody beats me ever. No
Right.
matter what game I'm playing, I
Right.
will always put on a show.
Yeah.
And then that mentality resonated with all his Hall of Fame compatriots saying, what? Michael wants to go that hard? Oh, all right. I want to beat Michael. Let's do this. And then it was a basketball game.
The intensity was up there. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was good to see. You remember when I talked about the Pro Bowl being in Vegas, and I said, you know, I was worried about it, just like I was worried about the Vegas having a team, and we saw with the Raiders, a lot of guys were arrested, and a lot of bad things were coming out for these young guys in such an environment that doesn't lend to smart decisions. Well, did you hear one of the stars got arrested as soon as the game ended?
No, I'm not surprised to hear that, but no, what happened?
Alvin Kamara was, as soon as he walked off the field, the sheriffs came up to him, read him his rights, handcuffed him, and took him to jail. He's being charged with aggravated battery that has led to significant injuries to an individual that he encountered at a casino. Him and some friends were at a casino and by some elevators. Some guy came up and started, I think they say that he started mouthing him off, saying some things to them. Suddenly somebody punched him, and then Kamara is shown on video punching him 8 different times, and then his friends started jumping on him, and he got kicked and stomped on. I think he got stomped on about 20 times or something like that, and this guy's pretty hurt. And yeah, Kamara was in jail. He got out on bail, but yeah, you know, one of the preeminent running backs in the NFL ends up spending Sunday night after the Pro Bowl in prison.
What's wrong with you, man? Yes, you play football, you're a celebrity, and you're also a target. People in Vegas, a lot of people are drunk, a lot of people are going to take their shot. It's up to you to be the bigger man and just walk away.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. You don't have to take it, man. Just walk away. Or better yet, get the casino security to deal with the individual.
Right. Yeah.
Don't do that. That's it. That's all you got to do, man. Sometimes I know in the moment it's hard to think, but you better think or else that's going to happen to you. And that's going to happen to you every single time.
Yeah, it was I guess, you know, I saw it coming. The NFL should have saw it coming. You know, these players should have saw it coming. This guy's gonna sue them, obviously, and you know, try to get his money and his, you know, 15 minutes of fame. But yeah, you can't take the bait. And yeah, it was just horrible news. He was already speculated to be on the outs in New Orleans. They decided they want to move on from him. This will not help. And there was speculation that the Seahawks were interested in bringing him on, but he might be sort of untouchable for teams like we've seen some of these other players that get in trouble with the law. Guys, you know, our organizations don't really want to be involved in case this guy goes to prison for a while, you know, sully some of the other young talent on the team. So yeah, terrible thing to happen to this guy that got beat up, and to Alvin Kamara and his friends and family. But you know, I think having these things in Vegas is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it is, because they're targets. It's Vegas. It just, you know, it's excess to the extreme. That's what Vegas will give you. That's what Vegas is all about. And then these guys with a lot of, I don't know, quote unquote, disposable income. Yeah, that's a recipe for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, not good, not good. Tonight was NFL opening night. They have a big fans rally in LA, and there's been tons of things going on tonight. There'll be festivities throughout the week. I'm really happy that there's teams back in LA. I'm happy the Super Bowl's there. This is a city that is destined for holding these massive events. There's going to be so many celebrities there. There's going to be so many parties. This could be one of a lot of people's best week of their lives here. I can't wait for all the fun to come out of this week. Hopefully we won't see any more arrests, but yeah, it's going to be a great week leading up to, I think we're going to see a fantastic Super Bowl.
I would love for it to end that way. I would love for pretty much, maybe I would say, the greatest playoff year in the NFL I've ever seen, and I would imagine any NFL fan has ever seen, with an immaculate Super Bowl, a very close Super Bowl, a well-played Super Bowl, because that's what this season deserves. That's absolutely what this season deserves.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you're right. An amazing halftime show too. They decided to get 5, not just one celebrity singer. They've got 5 of them. I don't know how they're all gonna be able to fit it into a halftime show, but this is gonna be epic too. This could be one of the greatest concerts ever put on.
Well, they got like a rap and R&B Hall of Fame of people, like that. It's rap royalty right there. Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. It literally doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm glad it's here. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. And as you say, yeah, it's been the greatest NFL season for parity, and an amazing amount of great games throughout that whole entire run through the playoffs. And let's hope the Super Bowl is epic and it finishes off on a great note. And yeah, we get a amazing halftime show. We get all the Super Bowl commercials. We get yeah, a lot of people watching. And with Cincinnati, it's not one of the biggest television markets. If it was New York and LA, we might see 100 million people watching it in the US. But I think Joe Burrow moves the needle, and I think this Bengals team is probably going to be, a big favorite for a lot of people, them wanting them to win, because they are the underdog, and it is Cincinnati, who's had a lot of struggles in their franchise's history.
Yeah, and they haven't been to the big show in a very, 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 very long time. Yeah. So, the Cincinnati fans must be over the moon, because who would have thought they would have made it to the Super Bowl? Yeah. Come on, like honestly, who would have thought they could have made it to the Super Bowl? Hardcore fans. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
But they made it. They got there. And Joe Burrow got them to the promised land. That's the guy. That's your quarterback of the future. And he's everything that they thought he would be. He's everything they thought he would be. So awesome.
Yeah, very awesome. Have you been watching any Olympics?
Yeah. I got some on right now. I think it's skiing.
Okay. Yeah, it's not big on your priority list, is it?
No,
yeah.
No.
Canada so far won 6 medals, 1 gold, 1 silver, and 4 bronze. Yeah, early on, but great to see some of the success already. Nice to see the Canadian flag waved in patriotism instead of getting angry about the government and stuff. I watched some amazing snowboard cross yesterday, and we won a gold and a bronze in the same event. That was incredible. We're 9th place currently on the standings. China, home country, is first place. Sweden, those cheaters from that Russian country, are 3rd. Netherlands, Germany, and Norway round out the top 6. Those Russians really tried cheating really bad against Canada yesterday. They had some COVID cases, and the Russian Olympic team in hockey, women's hockey, they had a few COVID cases. They all got tested, but they refused to give in the samples. And
fun.
so Canada said, well, we're not playing them unless they can prove that the people we're playing against don't have COVID. So they refused to take the ice. It delayed it by an hour and a half, and finally the samples miraculously showed up. They were able to see who was negative or positive. But then then they said, no, we're not believing everything that's happening out of here, and all of us are now wearing masks. So every one of the players wore a mask the entire hockey game. How tough is that? How brutal is that? They had to wear a mask the entire game while you're skating, while you're playing super physical game like that. Absolutely brutal. And Russia, again, they're not even called the Russian team anymore. They can't have their song played when they win gold medal because of all the stupid, idiotic things they've done. And just another example of a cheating federation. And, Canada was like, no, we're not having any of that, but still had to suffer through wearing a mask the entire game.
I think Russia has just been like this. We're just going to double down. We're clearly the villains. We're really good at it. And so we're just going to continue being the villain. That's what we're going to do. That's who we are now. That's our identity. Brutal, it's ridiculous. It's brutal. It's ridiculous to the extreme. And it's going to continue. I don't know when they're ever going to get on the right side of good. Maybe that's just who they're going to be from now on in.
Yeah, that's maybe, yeah. I don't think they should have even been allowed at the Olympics from all the things that they've done. And obviously in the world of politics, they're, 100,000 troops standing at the border of Ukraine, putting the world in jeopardy with another big war. Everybody around the world, except for China, has been against what they're doing here. I think you said you saw Putin there with the Chinese dignitaries trying to look like a good guy, but nothing that the Russians have done has been anything that you can say is good.
No. Oh, hold on a second. Was Putin there with the Chinese president, shirt off, on horseback? He likes to do that every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they were both horseback riding shirtless through the different venues in China there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Putin, I mean that in just like, I'm making a joke here. It's not serious. It's not serious. Don't come and get me. Don't take me out, please. Yeah. It'd be great if you didn't.
Oh man, crazy. So crazy. Amazing. I do want to mention that I have a couple upcoming podcasts coming up this week in some of our other genres. One of the guys that I've been going to for different set designs over the years, and you have as well, is going to be one of our podcast guests. This is Cameron from Concept Neon. Always loved those guys and what they've done for the film industry. And he's going to be an upcoming podcast guest with me probably early next week.
Nice. I like that guy. Good guy, man. That's awesome.
Going to be great. It's really great. And I also have the keyboardist for the band Black Mountain, Jeremy Schmidt, will be my guest. We're trying to find a convenient time for both of us to do it. Both of us very busy. Him getting himself ready for a upcoming world tour, and me with all the crap that I got going on. So yeah, we'll make it happen. But just wanted to make people aware. Keep your eyes and ears out. Some two really great guests coming up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, man, like those are two excellent guests, and that's going to be a lot of great content. People need to tune in and hear what they got to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, we've got some UFC to break down. I think we're at UFC 48 8 from Vegas. UFC 200th fight night, I think it was. Another card that had a lot of interesting characters. Sean Strickland is one of the most interesting characters on the UFC roster. Since coming to middleweight, he has been undefeated, and he was a bit of the favorite going in against Jack Hermansson, even though Hermansson had a higher ranking than him. This didn't turn out to be one of Strickland's best fights, but he fought smart and did enough definitely to get a decision. It was a split decision, which shouldn't have been the case, but he won the fight, and probably has one more fight, one more win, and then he probably gets a title shot after that. But yeah, I thought he thoroughly dominated Jack Hermansson in this fight and deserved a unanimous decision for sure.
Absolutely, man. Literally jabbed the man to death, controlled the pace of the fight entirely, and made it so that Jack Hermansson thought to himself, I'm not even going to bother doing takedowns because his takedown defense was so supremely good. Like, he didn't even try anymore, I think, after the second or third round. Didn't even make any more attempts.
Yeah.
And because that's how good he was, that's how effective he was at controlling controlling the fight. And also too, the one thing that really stuck out to me about Strickland, his economy of motion. Very effective at subtle movements to slip punches and kicks from Hermansson. Yeah. He doesn't go out of his way to do big movements. It's just subtle, inches here, there. And he just kept missing. He couldn't find his target. And Hermansson was just getting more and more behind as Strickland was more and more accurate as the fight went on. So
there was, as I said, it was a split decision. And after Strickland's coach wanted the judge Sal D'Amato to be fired, to be removed, and not utilized anymore. I was quite shocked to see 48-47 card for Hermansson when Derek Cleary and Junichiro Kamijo both scored this fight 49-46 for Strickland. Pretty shocking. Like, how could he have seen Hermansson win that?
He was watching a different fight than everybody else on the planet. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I think once it was read as a split decision, even Hermansson was just like, huh? Really? Sweet. I made it to a split decision. I have no idea how I did that. Even he was surprised. So if even he's surprised, he knows he lost that fight. Yeah. There's no way that it should have been a split decision. It was pretty egregious in the judging. It was ridiculous. Like, he's absolutely right. Sometimes I look at these judges and I know that they're coming from a boxing background. It is not a mixed martial arts background. I've said it before. I will say it again. These judges need to have a mixed martial arts background if they're going to judge on mixed martial arts fights. You extremely disadvantage these guys that put their health and life on the line when they go into the octagon. It's not right and it's not fair.
No, it's definitely not fair, and it's not right. If bad decisions happen, it can affect the guy's career. It can take away his win bonus. It can really, really significantly alter the entire sport. And we've had enough of it. We just not want it anymore. We want to be supporting an organization and a commission that makes it right, that makes it fair, makes it proper. When a guy goes out and he puts his life on the line, he should be able to ensure that the judges are fair and they're competent and they know what they're talking about and what they're doing and how they're judging, because it is so frustrating how often we're seeing these split decisions that are just ridiculous. They're just not, nobody else sees the fight this way. How can this guy that's trained to come in and judge, give a scorecard like that? It's just outrageous, and and it sheds a negative light on the sport where, you know, we don't want too much negative light on the sport because it is a fantastic sport.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And then this just sullies the sport because like that judgment that he made was not based in reality, like whatsoever. Not reality. I don't know what he was watching.
Yeah.
None of us do.
Yeah, it's terrible and it's bad. And yeah, we're you know, I know people said, you know, the right decision was made, but you know, we just yeah, we just don't want to be talking about stuff like this. It's not the way we want to break down fights. We don't want to talk about horrible judging calls here. The co-main event had Nick Maximoff coming out of Compton. Stockton out of the Diaz camp, undefeated fighter. He was coming in as an underdog, but he pulled out a decision against a really tough Puna Soriano. It was yeah, good performance by the undefeated Maximoff.
He did the right thing. He imposed his will and kept wrestling the man. I'm going to be honest. I was super impressed with Soriano's defensive wrestling throughout the entirety of this fight. I think Maximoff was impressed as well because his defensive wrestling was on point. And the flexibility that Soriano has in his hips, I believe really gave Maximoff some trouble. I don't think he was expecting that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But he kept at it, imposed his will, and made sure that the stand-up didn't stay standing up. Took him down to the ground immediately because he wanted no part of Soriano on the feet. Guys, has hands, hits too hard. He took it to where he knew he could win the fight, and that's where he did win it, grappling.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Shavkat Rakimov probably had the performance of the night, an absolutely incredible display, throwing a spinning heel kick that hit Carlston Harris, grounded, pounded him, and got the TKO win, got 50K for it, and improved his record to 15-0 with 15 finishes. This is a scary guy. First fighter ever from Kazakhstan to join the UFC. And yeah, he was kind of the talk of the card after that great TKO win.
Oh, that guy now needs to fight a ranked opponent. I think he's proven that he's got the skills to do it. Took this guy out. The thing that I loved about this fight was his patience. Super patient. He was patient and how he approached Harris. And then when he did the spinning back kick, there was no tell there. I watched it again. I went back and I'm like, so does he show it? There's no tell.
Wow.
It was beautiful. Beautiful technique, beautifully done, great win. But that guy now needs to start fighting some ranked opponents. You got to start putting some ranked guys in front of him now.
He said he's being compared to Khamzat Chimaev, and it sort of bothered him. He didn't want to have that comparison, but I guess it's kind of a little bit hard not to, because both these guys have come in really won in spectacular fashion, and yeah, I think it's kind of natural that most people are comparing them to each other.
Yeah, it is kind of natural, but I think I know where he's coming from because he's not as loud and boisterous as Chimaev, who just literally calls out anybody and everyone. I think he even called out Brock Lesnar. Like he just gets ridiculous. The man's ridiculous. But I understand he's on a high note. It's cool, whatever. But Rakhmonov is like, no, I'm kind of more steeped in, what do you call it, reality. So I'm not like that guy.
Yeah.
I love to fight, and I love to fight the people I'm supposed to fight. So I'm not him. I'm very good. He's very good. We're two different people, and they go about it two different ways, right? So I think that's more to the point of why he doesn't want to be compared to him.
True.
He's his own man.
Good point. Very good point. Okay. The result of the light heavyweight fight that was right before that Rakhmonov fight had a predicted result. Brendan Allen getting a submission victory. But the what happened yesterday was kind of surprising. I think it's maybe one of the first times I've ever heard a UFC fighter fire himself from the organization. He has decided he is stepping away. He is taking what he calls a hiatus. He will no longer be a UFC fighter. He is going to continue training guys. No retirement. He said he wants to come back, but he said it's not working out. And I'm shocked that the UFC has given him this much rope over the last couple of years. He has not won his last 8 fights, 1 draw and 7 losses in his last 8 fights. So I'm shocked. Usually once a guy loses about 4 times, he's finished. And I thought we were going to hear the UFC say that they're moving on, but he pulled the plug on himself. And I don't think we're going to see Sam Alvey back in a UFC cage ever again.
I had no idea it was that bad. I knew he hadn't won in a long time, but that's like 2 years, man. Like that's a long time. That's a long time for the UFC to give a fighter some rope. Like that is so tremendously long. Like that is such a long time. I can't believe that they've done that. I cannot believe that they gave him that much time. Like they don't give anybody that much time. No one that much time.
Oh,
So I'm impressed that Bobby just said that that this is it, that it's done. And also too, Allen's one of the top prospects coming up. He really is. And with that sneaky left hook that he hit him with to drop him in the first place, Alvey never even saw it coming. I believe you're right. I think this is it. I think it's done.
Yeah. His actually, it's been longer than a couple of years. His last win was June 1st, 2018 over Jean Vellante. He got a split decision win. And then he's lost 7 out of his last 8 with 1 split draw in the mix. So yeah, shocking. We've heard so many other fighters off the roster with 3 losses, 4 losses in a row. Never even 5. I think BJ Penn might be the only guy that ever got this much rope at the end of his career, but smiling Sam Alvey is going to have to fight in another organization, I think, if he wants to continue fighting. But yeah, when I noticed that he hadn't won in that long and kept this losing streak going, I was stunned that the UFC had been loyal and gave him that much opportunity. But he probably pulled the plug on him before they did, maybe just to save face himself.
Yeah, man, I think so. I think to save some face, to save like a little bit of pride. But yeah, man, that I think this should be it for him, because 4 years without 4 years without a win, man.
Almost, yeah. A few months away from 4 years. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Yeah. Okay, we should try to fly through. I definitely want to talk about the fight of the night between Julian Erosa and Steven Peterson, but do you want to mention anything about Brian Battle, Trayshawn Gore? Yeah, 2 really game guys, and but Battle, yeah, he beat a really good up and coming prospect in Gore.
Yeah, he beat a guy that was too overconfident, and he dismissed Battle in this fight. And he shouldn't have ever done that, because Battle came to fight. He can fight. And also, too, he had the perfect game plan for Gore. He just outputted him. More volume. Right. Gore was always looking for the perfect shot. You could tell that the man has power, but he didn't throw enough.
Right.
And that's how Battle beat him.
Yeah.
Overconfident. Yeah. Way too overconfident. And hopefully he learns from that.
Yeah. Movement. Yeah, he had only had 4 fights in his mixed martial arts career, and takes a loss. I'm sure he'll go back to the drawing board and understand what he did wrong. And yeah, we'll see a different fighter coming out for his next fight. Okay, the opening of the main card was fight of the night. Julian Erosa got a decision win over Steven Peterson. This was an amazing battle between the 2 great fighters. They just went toe to toe. and stood and banged. Rosa ended up getting $100,000 bonus for this because Peterson had missed weight, and
Yes.
so he was able to collect both bonuses. But both these guys were game, and this was definitely one of my fights of the year, but one of my favorite fights in a really long time.
Yeah, Arosa really impressed me because he got tagged a lot in this fight. And I give credit to Peterson because he changed the dynamic of the fight in the second round when he figured out my right hand keeps hitting him in the face. I'm just going to keep doing that. And he hit him with that over and over and over again for the second and third round. But Arosa showed me something that I knew that he had, which was heart and will. He just kept taking him and kept coming at him.
Yeah.
Kept coming at him, man. And Arosa deserved this win. Really did because, well, first off, he made weight because he's a professional.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I am so happy to hear that he got paid $100,000.
Yeah.
He earned every dollar, every penny of that. I am super happy to see that he got paid.
Yeah.
That's
so great. Yeah. Awesome. I have the significant strike numbers in this one, and it was impressive. We don't see these kind of numbers from guys like this very often, light heavyweights. Peterson outstruck him 37-38 in the first round, 46-37 in the second round. And then Arosa came back in the third round and had outstruck him 47-38. So massive amounts of strikes and really, really big bombs. Both these guys have hell of a chin. And I'm really happy when a guy, sticks to it. The other guy doesn't make weight. He sticks to it, make sure he gets to the weight, and he gets, a big bonus, getting another extra 50K for sticking in there and going through this battle and winning a decision.
Yeah, man, because that's $100,000. That's a game changer. Yeah. That's big money. That's big money for a guy that's still climbing up the rankings, looking for that big contract. So that's well deserved. Well deserved for Julian Rosa. Well deserved. Okay, let's fly through the prelims. Definitely wanted to mention some of our Canadians. 4 of them on the card. Hakeem Dawodu, really love his fighting style and love watching him fight. He pulled out a decision against Mike Tirizano. What do you think of that performance? I thought it was a clinic. It was a clinic on the feet. Dawodu was just controlled the fight through his superior footwork, striking, accuracy, all of that. Tirizano was there and he was dangerous throughout the entirety of the fight. But whenever Dawodu got hurt somewhat or rocked, close distance, wrestled him, grappled him for a bit so he could clear his head, and then went right back to work immediately. It was a very, very good win against a very tough opponent in Tirizano. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, spot on. Unfortunately, the Canadian that fought right before them in the middleweight battle, Marc-Andre, the power bar Barrio, was not as successful. He wasn't in there very long, 16 seconds. He got knocked out by Chidi Nakajuwani. He got caught, and that was pretty much lights out for him real quick. And Nakajuwani had great feints to set up the left-right, and the right came right down the pipe down the middle. And when Burrell got hit with that, you could see his face go, oh, that was a doozy. And then it was over. And that's too bad because Barrio was the top Canadian last year. He was he won 2 fights, and no other Canadian had went 2-0 in the UFC last year. So back to the drawing board real quick. Luckily, he didn't take massive amounts of punishment. He was just out there fast and should be able to recover pretty quickly, hopefully. So Alexis Davis was able to get her victory in a decision win over Stoliarenko. 9 rounds. 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 9 roun
Nice to see her getting the win. And then Malcolm Gordon really put the hurt on Dennis Bonner. His arm looked horrible when they showed the replay. Looked like it was broken and possibly dislocated, maybe both. It was a crazy submission win, and he ended up giving him a TKO KO, but when Bodner started screaming and they showed the arm, there was no way he's continuing with that.
Yeah, that's why you tap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like tap. That just tap. that's all I gotta say to that. I'll just say, is he gonna tap? No, he's gonna scream instead. Okay, that's I guess that's another way of doing it.
Yeah, that was nuts, man.
Oh,
That was
man.
nuts. Yeah, that looks like it's gonna take a while to heal. Never good to see an arm sticking out in that way. It did not look good.
No, it did not look good. Like, you have to understand, it's like, what's the advantage of going to that extent?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna be on the shelf for like months.
Yeah.
Like, it's dude. Now you just costing yourself money. Just tap. The guy's got you. It's fine. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But you know what? There's gonna be another time where you get to fight again.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to fight when your arm is noodled and destroyed.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look ahead to next weekend's card. We've got a really fantastic UFC 271. We've got a rematch between Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. Adesanya has been on a hell of a roll, beat all comers, even beating guys twice. Whittaker coming in. Definitely, Whittaker has looked phenomenal in his last few fights, but do you think he's been able to evolve his game enough to take out the champ?
I don't know, man. That's tough. Izzy's that good. And I think my idea of what Robert Whittaker is probably going to have to do in this fight is trap him and take him to the ground. Yeah. I would like to think he's going to try to stand up for a little bit, but I think even with whatever wrinkles he's going to throw into his stand up, he's still going to be better.
Yeah.
He's still going to be better in the stand up. I don't think that's going to change anything. So I think he's just going to have to come with a different mentality, a different approach, and try to wrestle him and get him to the ground. And I think Izzy's going to be prepared for something like that. I think he knows it's like, he's going to come at me. He's going to try to take me to the ground. And the one thing that Whittaker has to keep doing is he has to keep doing it. He has to keep threatening. Yeah. He cannot let his foot off the gas. He has to keep doing that.
Yeah, you were right earlier when you said Hermanson, gave up, which he shouldn't have. He should have just kept at it all 5 rounds. And, that's the way he was going to win that fight. Even if a guy stuffs you 5 times, 6 times, 8 times, just keep at it. You're right. Whittaker's got to do that. Adesanya showed that with Blachowicz. He was not able to win the fight. Obviously, Blachowicz was a bigger man, but if Whittaker can get the right leverage, be able to get there, get on top of him in the proper way, he should be able to, win some rounds, grinding him out and stuff. And I think that is the recipe for his success. So we'll see if Whittaker and his training camp and partners are able to get the right game plan. I'd love to see it to be a good fight. He did give him, some pretty good competitive fight last time, but nobody has really threatened Adesanya very much. So I'm expecting Adesanya to continue the belt, but we'll see what Whittaker is able to bring.
Yeah, we'll see what the new wrinkles to the game that Whittaker is able to bring this time around against Israel Adesanya. Like, I think he's going to have to try different techniques, different takedowns, trips, judo throws, single legs, double legs, chain them together. He's going to have to do all of these things continuously for 5 rounds. Whittaker's gas tank, his endurance, his stamina better be at peak levels.
Right.
If he wants to fight like that for 5 rounds.
Yeah. The co-main event should be a fun fight. We've got two bangers. Derek Lewis loves to knock guys out, and Tai Tuivasa loves to do shoeies, and would love to do one after KOing the Black Beast. I think the Black Beast is on a different level than Tuivasa, but this should be entertaining enough for us to see a knockout for sure.
I think this is probably going to be the most entertaining fight on the card.
Nice.
Like, I honestly do. I think both men have power. Derek Lewis having more power, but I think this is going to be the most entertaining fight because Tuivasa doesn't back up to nobody. He's coming there to fight. I'm very interested to see how this plays out, but I think somebody is getting knocked out in this particular fight.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see Jared Cannonier against Derek Brunson. That'll be a hell of a fight too. Bobby Green, love him. One of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC. Just love his style and the way he goes about it. We get to see the old veteran Andrei Arlovsky on the featured prelim fight. And yeah, there's a lot of good fights. We've got prelims, early prelims, and the main card fully stacked. Hopefully, we won't see any fights fall off from COVID or missing weight. But yeah, UFC 271 should be really fun this coming week from the Toyota Center.
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight. And then also, too, I just wanted to point out one fight in particular on the early prelims. I can't believe this fight is actually on the early prelims. Is the Alexander the Great, against Renato Moicano.
Yeah.
Big time fight.
Nice.
That's one to keep your eye on. That's going to be a big time fight.
Yeah. And most people don't tune into the early prelims, so make sure you do. You're going to miss a hell of a fight. And there's so many great guys coming up through this Dana White Contender Series. We're getting to see a lot of great fighters. And yeah, like that, those are not actually young prospects. Hernandez and Moicano have been around a while. Not sure why they've fallen down to the early prelims, but maybe the UFC is trying to make sure people watch right from the beginning.
Yep, I think that's what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do, because that's a doozy. That actually is a fight that could easily have been on the main card.
Yeah,
easy.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, why don't we finish it off by talking about some NBA. We've had a few big trades happen in the NBA over the last few days. The big trade that happened just before the weekend was the Portland Trailblazers doing a big salary dump, getting Norman Powell and Robert Covington off the books, bringing in Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second round pick. Winner hands down with this trade with the Clippers. Can't believe they're able to get Covington and Norm Powell there. Norm Powell, when he got traded from Toronto to Portland for Gary Trent Jr., everybody thought, wow, that's a really good, solid trade for both teams, and very smart. I think Norm Powell will fit in really well with Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum. I think they'll be great. He's done nothing but really good things since he's been there, but his $18 million contract a year had pushed them over the luxury tax. They didn't want to pay it, so ship him out the door, start this rebuild around Dame, and yeah, the Clippers are the benefactors of it.
Yes, the Clippers are definitely the benefactors of it. This is clearly a salary dump. I think, as you've said, obviously Dame is on the shelf with his after his abdominal surgery. He's most likely not coming back for the rest of the year, along with a bunch of other players that are injured at this moment in time. It looks like they're going to be playing for draft position at this moment in time, right? So their season is kind of over. And also, too, if you looked at the Portland Trailblazers roster construction, it wasn't built for Dame to win. All right, it just wasn't. So let's try this again. Let's go from the top down, and let's try to get this guy a team that he can win with, because he deserves that. He absolutely deserves that.
CJ McCollum is rumored to be on the move next. Both Dallas and New Orleans are the most interested, supposedly. He's due to make almost $70 million over the next 2 seasons. So there needs to be teams with some salary cap or some really big salaries coming the other way. Yeah, it's a big ticket. Great guard, but $70 million is a lot of money to pay a guy coming in for the next 2 years.
Yeah, 70 million, and also to a guard that has obviously great offensive skills, but is slightly lacking on the defensive end, to be honest.
Yeah. And then they say expect Yusuf Nurkic to be on the move as well, and we'll see where the interest is with him. I think they've decided that Anthony Simons is the guy that they want to put a lot of attention to. He's a restricted free agent this summer. He emerged this year as a really, really promising piece. He's had a phenomenal year. I don't think they expected him to jump up so early and be this guy to take over Norm Powell's position and to be able to be one of the key pieces. But he's been great this year. I think, as I said, unexpected from that organization as well as most around the NBA.
The signs were there that he could potentially be very good. And now that he is getting the playing time, he's getting the chance to show what he's got, he's showing it. He's showing it. So I think going forward, him teamed up with Dame in the backcourt, I think that's going to be a win.
Yeah.
Really good.
I mentioned Gary Trent Jr. being what the Raptors were able to get when they traded Norm Powell. He came out, or his father actually just came out this week and said that his son was really sad and depressed playing in Portland. He was not a happy guy there. He was just thrilled when he finally went to Toronto, and the Raptors have been just blown away by what he's brought them. He had 5 straight games with more than 35 points in the past week and a half, and he stepped up and been probably their best guy over the past few weeks here, and he's really carved himself a great role with the Raptors.
He's gotten a chance to spread his wings, so to speak, and he's been given the green light to just go for it. And like Nick Nurse trusts him, clearly trusts him. Yeah. And so when you have your head coach that has your back like that, like, hey, the world's your oyster. All you got to do is go and seize the opportunity, which he has done.
Couple other Raptors news. Pascal Siakam was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He led them to 4 wins over 5 days, averaged 25 points, 10.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. And he's just one of only 5 players in the whole league currently averaging more than 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists for a stat line. Incredible that he's been able to bounce back and play so well, and has had a really remarkable bounce back year.
Yeah, I look at the Raptors and I think to myself, maybe they're just a few trades away from just going right back to where they were. Yeah. To being like a powerhouse in the East. They got pieces there. They clearly have pieces in place. They just need a couple more fine-tune, a couple tweaks here and there. And I think they're going to be right back to being a powerhouse again in the East. Yeah. They seem like they're close.
Fred VanVleet was selected to appear in his first All-Star game. And he was also tapped to compete in the 3-point contest. So watch for that on the 20th, February 20th, when that comes together. Great for him to see him emerge. I think he's one of only 4 players in NBA history to make the All-Star game being an undrafted player.
Yeah. And that's amazing. That's amazing. 4 guys. There's only 4 guys in the entirety of the NBA. That's not a lot of people. And Fred VanVleet is one of them. And I'm just going to say this right now. This is not his last All-Star game that he's going to be a part of.
Yeah.
There's going to be many more in that man's future.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's fantastic, phenomenal. It's great that he's been able to emerge. And Kyle Lowry gave him a shout out, said, yeah, there's my guy. That's the guy that I mentored. Very proud to see, yeah, Freddie keep emerging and being one of the top backcourt players in the league. Okay, there was another big trade that went down yesterday. It went down about 90 minutes before the Pacers and the Cavaliers were supposed to play each other. They made a trade for each other. Karis LeVert walked into the arena as the visiting player and came out of the arena as the hometown player. Karis was picked up by the Cavaliers. They dumped Ricky Rubio, who has been on the shelf for the entire season, or not for the entire season, but he has been injured and will be out for the rest of the year. Big pickup by Cleveland, who has started to emerge as one of the top teams in the East. And now they've got LeVert, who put up 42 points against Chicago on Friday night. Another big scorer and another really, really big piece for Cleveland, who really are serious about trying to get an Eastern Conference title again.
It might be the missing piece that they were missing. You know, like Karis LeVert might be literally that guy.
Yep.
I think it's a perfect pickup for that team. Like perfect. Like and on top of that, they really didn't have to give up anything. They got to give up a guy that's not going to play for the rest of the year.
No.
All right, you can take that, dude. Good luck. And I wish Ricky Rubio the best. I hope he heals up great. But we're gonna take that dude right now. Like that's, yeah, the Cavs are going to be in a very, very good position for the rest of the year. I can't wait to see how he melds with that team. I think that's as good a pickup as I've seen ever.
Yeah,
Great. Kudos to that.
Yeah. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're only a half a game behind Milwaukee for second place, tied with the Bulls for third, only a game and a half behind the Heat for first place in the Eastern Conference. That team has had an absolutely remarkable turnaround. And Karis LeVert and Darius Garland are looking great. After Colin Sexton and Ricky Rubio were hurt, you were like, uh-oh, what are they going to do? And Garland has stepped up, and now they've got LeVert. I can see, an incredible run for this Cavs team. And Indy looks like they've definitely given up on the season. They are 19-36, getting LeVert gone. Supposedly Sabonis and Miles Turner on the block as well. They're going to clean house and decide to rebuild there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They should start the idea of retooling or just retool completely, because whatever they're trying to do ain't working. It clearly is not working. So it's trying to restart.
They've had 14 losses since January 1st, and the only team that has been just as bad is the Brooklyn Nets. 14 losses in the new year, 8 straight for Brooklyn, 8 straight losses for a team that was expected to win the NBA championship this year. Kyrie Irving has definitely not helped on the win column. He's coming in to help out. Obviously, with KD out, James Harden has been hurt, but Kyrie can't pull out these victories for this team. He's only playing on the road still, but to see how the mighty have fallen, this is crazy.
Well, here's the problem. KD got hurt, and that's the problem. If that guy didn't get hurt, these losses wouldn't be happening. But he got hurt, and now Harden is just like, yeah, that dude that's like our part-time player. Yeah, I didn't sign up for this either. I'm super surprised that the Nets aren't willing to deal him, because I believe at the end of this year he has the option to opt out of his contract, which I think he's definitely going to do, because he's just like, well, this is not going to work for me. I'm out of here. See you later. And
Yeah,
so then the Nets give up the right to get anything for it, anything, which
crazy.
I think, I don't know, that doesn't really make too much sense to me, but hey, that's their organization. They run it the way they like.
I saw a press conference with Steve Nash over the weekend, and he was asked if James Harden is on the trade block. He said, no, absolutely not. He wants to stay here. We want him here. But the rumors about him going to Philly for Simmons are just continually swirling. Harden has looked disinterested and not wanting to be there. I think it would be crazy not to deal him now. If he doesn't want to be there, yeah, Steve said he does, but I don't know. Maybe he's saying one message to Steve and another message to everybody else because he doesn't look like he wants to be there anymore. You might as well deal him, get Simmons. Simmons will take a little bit to get going, but he can bring something that Harden's not bringing, some defensive responsibility and things like that.
Yeah.
And they're just sinking like a stone. They're seventh place and 8 losses in a row, worst team in basketball right now. You got to do something to shake up this mix.
Oh, they should do something. I don't know obviously we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm wondering why the organization feels that so confident that the man wants to stay.
Yeah.
Where if you look at his play, it's saying something completely different. I don't know. I don't know. I think it looks like to me that he doesn't want to be there. Like he literally doesn't want to be there. And I think for the promises he was probably made and then how everything's turned out, because, well, nobody expected a pandemic to break out as he was there in Brooklyn. I'm sure he didn't. But just the way it has played out now, he's just like, I don't think I want to be a part of this.
Yeah. Yeah, Kyrie's definitely, changed this whole entire dynamic. It seemed like, they had this incredible 3-headed monster that nobody was going to be able to topple. But it's rough there. It's not going well, and there needs to be something changed, or they might just sink right out of even a play-in spot. It's ugly. Let's switch to the West and just talk a little bit about the top teams. Suns and Warriors continue playing incredibly well. Both won 9 of their last 10. Warriors on a 9-game winning streak, separating themselves from the rest of the league, rest of the conference for sure. Just rolling along and looking like, they definitely should be the two teams that face each other in the Western Conference Final. It doesn't look like, unless some big moves are made, anybody else really has a shot at toppling either one of these guys.
Yeah. And on top of that, for the Warriors at least, like Steph is going through, I think, quote unquote, a shooting slump, and they're still 9-1. Like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like the team is that good. And Klay is still trying to play into the Klay Thompson that we're used to. We saw a flash of that the game before where he went 8 for 11, which was amazing. Awesome. Like that's the Klay that we know. He's right there. Yeah. And once those guys get on top of their game, and they're still 9-1, and they're still trying to get their game going. Once that actually happens, that's going to be a problem for the rest of the league.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure will be. And it's incredible to watch. I love watching the Grizzlies this year. Ja Morant and that team's great, but they're 4.5 games behind the Warriors, and they're solidly in third place, but definitely not in the same class. It's funny to see the 4th place team in the conference 11 games back. That's amazing. And then we're dropping down 12, 14, 15, 20 games back going down. That's amazing how these two teams at the top are going on such a run, and nobody's even close to keeping pace with them.
No, they're the two teams, they're the cream of the crop. I firmly believe that those are the two teams that you'll see in the Western Conference Finals. And that might be your quote unquote actual finals. Yeah. I don't know who's coming out of the East, but it really looks like at this point in time, whoever makes it out of the West is going to win.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like right now.
The whole thing. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, man. Well, this was fun. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more trades. We've got the deadline coming up on Thursday. So, yeah, there'll be lots for us to break down next week. And that'll be the teams that, yeah, start emerging as the powerhouses and the ones that will get left behind and that'll be in the draft lottery. Right now, the Clippers and the Lakers look destined to be in that play-in game, the 8 and 9. The 8 and 9 play-in game that the Warriors and the Lakers were in last year. The Battle of LA down at the bottom. That's going to be kind of funny to watch.
Yep. That who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought with the way that these rosters were constructed that those two would be battling it out to just get into the playoffs?
Yeah. Crazy, yeah. But big move by the Clippers getting Karis LeVert and Robert Covington. Yeah, that should help them win some games and start chipping away, going up the Western Conference. So, yeah, I didn't hear a quote from your favorite movie tonight. Anything come to mind during this podcast?
You know what? It's one of those things you can't rush it. It's just gonna come off. It's gonna come off the cuff. Okay. Maybe the next one. I'm just going to leave the listeners in suspense for the next time it happens. Sounds and good. It will be a next time. I promise you that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll name the segment the Shawshank Redemption segment. We'll get some sponsor with it, and we'll get you some great quotes coming in every week. But we'll keep everybody in suspense for one more week.
One more week.
We'll have a new Shawshank Redemption segment coming up.
Yes. It's coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah. That was fun as always, man. Barely saw you today, but I'm sure we're going to see a lot of each other this week. Looking forward to it. Super Bowl coming up, UFC 271. Pretty slow weekend this past weekend in sports, but next weekend is one of the biggest weekends of the calendar year for sports.
Yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. It's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to an excellent Super Bowl to cap off an excellent year of NFL. And looking forward to seeing the pay-per-view of Izzy and Whittaker getting after it and seeing who can come out on top.
Go Bengals. Go Bengals. Let's see. Let's see Joe Burrow smoke some cigars and have some dance moves after this. And turn around the Bungles franchise. If they can finally win a Super Bowl, maybe nobody's going to be able to call them the Bungles no more.
Yeah, that would be the icing on the cake for Joe Burrow, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Lots of football, lots of basketball going on. Things to watch, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
See you bright and early tomorrow, my friend. Take it easy.
Cheers. Good night.
Night.
Okay. Well, we've come to an end of another fantastic podcast. Jason brightens up every Monday. Great to see him. I'm glad you guys get to see him as well. Not just me and our coworkers. We get to shoot them all across the world, North America and the world. I've got some great listeners in Australia, got listeners across the US, Canada, and other countries too. So welcome to you guys. I hope you love Jason as much as we do. I want to thank our partners and sponsors. We want to start off with Anchor. Anchor.fm is the easiest place to make a podcast. Fantastic partner for us. We've loved having them. They are so great at sharing on multiple podcasting platforms for us. And we couldn't do what we do and reach as many people as we do without their help. Thanks so much. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value, and the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your family. We have Pampas and Possibilities, the designers of curated West Coast pretty things that you can put in your home and spruce it up, make it look really great and impress your friends and family. And of course, Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Go to our website and you can purchase products for any of our partners and sponsors at reduced rates because you're friends of the Complete Sports Media family. So go to Complete Media Network. We've got a lot of fantastic content there. And as I said, got some really great upcoming guests. We've got Cameron Clow from the Concept Neon going to talk to us about the amazing world of neon products. And Jeremy Smith, the keyboardist from Black Mountain. They haven't been touring as much, obviously, with COVID, but gearing up for a tour coming up with Primus. If you guys remember that great band from the 90s and beyond, it's going to be super fun for them to go on tour. I think they did some tour dates with them before, and excited and looking forward to that again. So keep tuned in. As always, tell your friends, tell your family, and love you lots. Thanks to everybody that contributed and helped out with the podcast. And we'll see you 1 week from tonight. We'll be breaking down the Super Bowl 56. It's going to be great. And UFC 271. What am I talking about? 271. Will there be a new champion, or will Israel Adesanya continue to have his belt? Make sure you tune in next week, and we'll give you all the details. Take care of yourself. Love you lots. Bye for now.